Hello and welcome to another edition of Express Yourself. I'm Tammy Sane, your co-hostess for this evening. Before we begin, I'd like to share with you what makes Express Yourself special. Our show's goal is to encourage our youth to take a stand and make a difference. Express Yourself is dedicated to providing a show that promotes positivity, creativity, and self-esteem. Our guest for this evening is Minister Ernest E. Tuck. And now I'll give you to our host of Express Yourself, Vernon E. Richardson.
Hello and welcome to Express Yourself. We as individuals must challenge ourselves to come forward to take a stand for the equal opportunities. We as a community need to wake up. The time has come for us to create our own projects and programs that will help capture and encourage our young people today. So without any further delay, I'm proud to present to you a strong, positive young man that you will all come to know, Minister Ernest Tuck. Hello and welcome to Express Yourself.
How you doing? Thank you.
So what's been going on in the community today?
A lot of hard work has been going on in the community today, but as you know by reading the papers, listening to the radio, listening to the news, we find that our community is in a state of disarray right now. And it makes me unhappy to see the numbers of our people that live under the poverty level. It upsets me to see our young brothers and our young sisters killing each other in the street. So there must be a change in our neighborhood.
Well, in your neighborhood yourself, what changes would you like to see in your neighborhoods? You know, what could you do to help make that change?
Well, when I speak of my neighborhood, I speak of the neighborhood of people of African descent as a whole.
All right.
And the changes that I would like to see is for us as a people to stop living the way that we are living now, which is a life that is not ours. We have been so far removed from our true culture and our true heritage that we don't know which way is the right way to live. So we must return to our true history, living in the manner of our true heritage and culture, so that we will stop misbehaving as a people.
Well, you know, Ernest, I think you're absolutely right. And I think that our Express Yourself viewers need to take heed that you are indeed a positive role model in your community today. Now, what about, speaking of role models, let's talk about your role models. Do you have any role models that inspire you?
Well, I use almost everybody I try to meet to play some type of positive role in my life. I look to everybody as a role model, not just the Michael Jordans, the Michael Jacksons, or whoever like that, because not everyone can achieve that status. I look at people as like your maintenance engineers. Most people call them janitors. I look at them as being very positive because despite the stereotypes that's been placed on their type of job, instead of stooping to the level of criminal activity, these people go out and they work a job that's an honest living. But the two most important people that played a role in my life is my mother and father. You know, they've made me become the person that I am today. And if I can be half the person that they have become in their lifetime, I'll be all right.
I know your mom and dad are very proud of you, of course, because you are a role model indeed throughout the community and I guess throughout the metropolitan area. And also, I like to share with my Express Yourself viewers that Mr. Ernest Tuck also plays a very important role in his church, Lomac AME Zion Church in Arlington, Virginia.
Yeah. At Lomax, I'm the youth minister there, and it has been stated that my ministry is a little bit different from what the AME Zion Church or basically any church in particular is used to hearing, because my message goes back to the roots. I go back and bring out our ever so forgotten history as it plays a part in our religion. We're so used to listening to this, well, I would say, someone else's interpretation of our religion that we're not getting the truth, you know. So I go back, and despite how much it hurts, how much people disagree with it, I bring out the truth in the religion.
And the truth indeed you do, because I happened to had the opportunity to be there at one of your speeches, man, and it was very positive and powerful. I mean, man, you sending out a positive message.
I'm just hoping it's well received. Although it may cause a little conflict here and there, but conflict is good because conflict starts dialogue. Dialogue starts understanding, and once we start understanding our true problem, we can address those problems instead of addressing symptoms of the problem.
Well, understand also that it's a question that comes up a lot about do you consider yourself a racist?
Do I consider myself a racist? Well, we must look at what this word racist really means.
Okay.
In a lot of dictionaries that you look in, the word racist isn't even there. So therefore you must dissect the word in the two parts that it is. The word racist is defined of a word race and the suffix ist.
Okay.
Race defines one's ethnic group, racial group, or group of people that they belong to. Okay? The suffix ist explains one's relationship to the noun which it is attached to, one's dedication or one's perfection in that noun. Okay? For example, one who has dedicated his life to science and is dedicated to making advancements or have a great knowledge in science is called a scientist.
Correct.
One who plays music or one who plays the piano and has made great advancements in playing the piano is a pianist. Therefore, since I study the history of my people, want to make great advancements, and has dedicated my life to the advancement of my people, therefore, by the true definition of the word racist, yes, I am, but not a participant in racism, which is totally different from racist. Everyone should be a racist because everyone should be working towards the advancement of their people, but not at the disadvantage of another people.
I see. I mean, you can't get any deeper than that, you know, and I'm quite sure that my Express Yourself viewers appreciate that very much.
Well, when we start defining things and using words, we must know what they really mean.
Sure. Before
we can go out and proclaim to be intelligent in the use of the English language or anything, because there are a lot of different plays on the word, which makes you may not want to be that word. So if I tell you that racist is a bad word, then you will not strive to be a racist.
I see.
Seeing that racist is really positive. Racism is not positive.
Okay. Positive and negative. Positive.
That's right. There you go.
All right. All right. Well, what about the churches, man? I think that we're losing the main concept within our churches today because, you know, the people, can't even go into church, man, and sit beside someone without criticizing them of who they are, and that's not right. I mean, we're supposed to be Christians, you know, Christian brothers and sisters. What do you think about the churches these days? Or do you think they're receiving or giving the positive message that's needed to be given to the congregation?
Well, I won't say every church because I haven't visited every church, but of the churches that I visit and of the churches that I know of, there must be a major upheaval in the doctrines that are being taught.
Sure.
I consider the churches, some of the churches today, as being the teachers of the old slave religion. You know, we have to realize that Christianity was the vehicle used to enslave our people and to keep them from rebelling against the oppressor. Okay, we are not getting the true revolutionary message of Jesus Christ, the one that says we should not conform. Okay? We should stand outside the norm and not go along with the status quo. Okay, here when you talk change in some churches, you get the congregation upset because they just want to go with the flow, you know, and that's not the true teachings of Jesus Christ. Okay, and how can they get the true teachings of Jesus Christ when they can't even get his superficial color right? You walk into a church, you know, and you see this blonde-haired, blue-eyed figure, Jesus. That's not Jesus. That's not Jesus. Revelations chapter 1, verses 14, 15 said Jesus had hair like lamb's wool. You know, he had skin as if it was burned in a furnace. You know, that's black to me, you know. So if you can't get superficial issues right, then how can you really say that you can get Jesus' message right? You know, conformity is not the way, okay? We need, they don't teach the message where Jesus, you know, tore apart the money changers because they was exploiting his people. You know, Jesus warned us of an enemy, how we should fight the enemy, how we should get around the enemy's obstacles. That's not being taught. And our African heritage and our African history is so hidden. They've changed the color of the biblical characters, you know, to make you kneel down and bow down to this image, okay, which keeps although the shackles have gone off our body, they shackled our minds. And once you control a person's mind, you control them.
For 400 years.
Over 400 years. 400. That's right.
I mean, we've been oppressed for a long time.
And it's time for us to start getting the true message. And the place to start is the church, because that's the one time and the one place that we have the biggest congregation of our people and can reach the numbers of our people. And teaching them a false doctrine is not helping us. It's actually hurting us. So that's why we need a major upheaval in the church, teaching the truth in the religion. And it says in the book, truth shall set you free.
Set you free. Let's come up to date. Let's, 1990, okay, the 90s. All right, where do we go from here?
Where do we go from here? Reestablishing proper education, okay, proper motivation to the youth, making no excuses for not advancing to our full potential, and addressing the problems and not symptoms of the problem. We're addressing a lot of symptoms. When you catch a cold, do you try to treat the cold, or do you try to treat your runny nose or your headache? Because if you treat the runny nose, you're still going to have a cold. You treat the headache, you're still going to have a cold. And until you treat the virus that is causing you to have these symptoms, then it's not going to be eradicated. And that's all we've been doing. We've been putting Band-Aids over areas, but not treating the cause of what is causing all the turmoil in our communities today.
Well, I think that we need to really concentrate more on the ethics of our history. Because if we do, I think we can learn a great deal. And of course, we are most achievable when we do these things in a positive way, because they know that we can achieve anything.
Oh, yeah.
They know that.
We can achieve. That's why there are some people who are afraid to put people of African descent and to positions of power, because they know that anything that we do, we will master it. We will master. We are just like Nimrod in the book of the Bible, where it says anything that he conceived, he had to do. And he had to send God down to stop this man, because he said anything that he conceived. This was a black man on the continent of Africa. It is written in the books in which most of the people study by, the Holy Bible. Nimrod, a black man. He said anything that he conceived, he could do. That's why God had to come down to stop him.
Anything that you conceive, your mind can achieve.
That's right. But see, we have been taught that we have done nothing for so long. We have been taught that we have been a people that have no history for so long that we believe that. We believe that we cannot make achievements. we believe that we cannot make advancements. And you teach people that so long, what do you expect for them not to achieve? So now it's time for us to go back and to say, yes, you can achieve. Yes, you are great. In the minds of the people in the black community, it is great. We have tremendous brain power in our communities, but it will not shine forth until proper education and proper motivation is instilled in our people.
And that instillment which is needed for all of us.
That's right. See, we're relying on the school system too much. We are not doing our part outside of school to develop the proper education. Okay. When you can tell someone Christopher Columbus discovered America, but yet you can go to properly written history books and you see that that's not true, then what are our children really learning in school?
All right, I want you to hold that thought.
All right.
We're going to pick it back up, okay? Because we're going to have to go to a commercial, and we will return after this message.
Of Africa, they count on us. On the freezing midlands of Central Asia, they depend on us. And from Maine to Texas to California, we all count on the care and skill of America's farmers and ranchers to conserve our most precious resources. Protecting our soil and water is an investment in America's future. Find out what you can do to help. We owe it to our children. Call 1-800-THE-SOIL.
This is MC Light, and I encourage you to express yourself each and every day. Peace and love. Back to you, Vernon.
Hello and welcome back to Express Yourself. Ernest, tell me, I understand that you are involved in a program called AIM. Could you tell us a little bit about that, please?
Right, the AIM program is a program based out of the church, but which is not really a part of the church, and it stands for Achievement, Integrity, and Motivation, in which we take the youth of the community and we bring them into the program and we tutor them in their schoolwork, scholastics, achievement, self-esteem, different things like that. We take them out to different cultural places.
Which is great. Yeah.
Right, which is very needed. I'm also involved in a Bible study. I call it life study, life development, at the church, where it is basically directed to the youth. bringing out the truth in the Bible, teaching them the important roles in which Africa played, teaching them self-knowledge, because unless you have a proper knowledge of self, then you're lost. So a lot of my programs that I'm involved with are directed to the youth because that's the future, and we got people out there that are older who has that I can't change mentality.
Yes,
so,
that's true.
I mean, why direct your force into people who you know that are not going to change?
Not ready for that change,
the youth
right.
are zealous. They're ready to go. They're anxious, and all you have to do is tell them, you know, a little bit about how important of a role that their ancestors played in the development of the civilization in which we live in today. Then they're eager to learn more and willing to participate in the programs.
And I know that you do a tremendous job.
I try my best.
Well, tell me, I know that you don't believe in integration. Why?
Well, you have to understand integration really. If you look at integration as a marriage between two people, you know, between these two people, that before there can be a union, there has to be a compromise of one's needs or one's wants.
Sure.
Okay? When you're talking about integrating people of African descent into this society, we're talking about a people who hold a quote-unquote superior, or the people who are in power do not want to compromise their power to allow us to have part of it. Okay? There are things that we must compromise in order to be an integral part here. We must compromise our history. We must forget that. We must forget who we are as black men and black women before we are fully accepted in here. Also, in the Constitution of the United States, we are labeled as 3/5 of a person. We are labeled as property. So should we compromise ourselves into those standards to be a part? I don't think so. So, therefore, I don't believe it. But that does not mean being anti-white. That means just living in a manner in which we all can live together harmoniously. Okay, where we are not looked over by a superior group of people, nor do we have to look up to what is supposed to be a superior group of people. You know, we are all here to achieve, but when you have people who are in power that does not have your best interests at hand, integration cannot work.
And that is true. I mean, what can you say about integration when there's no harmony among us? You know, we can't.
Not even that, but you have to look at the way this society is run. We are the only people who are not allowed to practice their culture here. You look, we have a Chinatown, we have a little Italy, we have a little Havana, but we don't have a little Africa. You know, they call little Africa the projects. Our people do not come from projects. We should not live in projects, and projects are not a part of our culture. So we should be, unless we are able to practice our culture and not be discriminated against, integration will not work.
And integration, indeed. I mean, I tell you, man, where do we go when we are in a situation that we've been in so long? You know, we're due for a change, man, and it's up to us.
That's right.
It's up to people that are very positive, on the right track, to take heed, to make a change.
A lot of people think of integration as being, well, negative. They say our people fought for integration.
Right.
Our people did not fight for integration. They fought for equality. And they get it mixed up because they wanted to end segregation, not separation. It's a big difference between the two. Segregation was a forced separation by a power structure with two groups of people who had unequal rights. Separation is two groups of people living separately. They have their own political and economic structure in which they benefit from, and these people have their own political and economic system in which they benefit from. Okay? You don't have this group of people oppressing this group of people. A structure like that, one can live in harmony. One can live in harmony. Support their own, support their own. Not saying that we can't get along.
Right.
It's just that we are not about having this people oppress this people, you know. So it's not a negative thing. And people say when you institute separation like that, that means you don't want to get along with white people. No.
That's not true.
No. I know a lot of good white people, but the system is not set up by individuals individuals do not carry out the system. So we can't look at individuals like that. We have to look at the system as a whole,
right.
Okay? Because an individual does not make up the system.
And our government is one big chunk of lump of, you know what? I mean, you know, why is it that the government can't realize the issues that are going on out here? I mean, I know they understand what's happening in the communities today. I know they know what downside of a community means to them. I mean, you know, you have the government behind so much. I mean, there's so much going on behind the government. We need to wake up and challenge the government. We need to come together. We need to motivate ourselves to make a change towards the government. We got to start voting.
There are a lot of people who don't want to start and make a change because they say, well, I'm just one person, I can't make a difference. But until we all start to get the mentality that unless I do something, it won't get done,
right.
Then it's not going to change. Okay, there are a lot of us who don't understand the true problem. Okay, there are some of us out there who don't believe racism exists. You know, and that is what I feel is the true problem. Denying a people maximum development. Okay, teaching lies, teaching that they've come from nothing, teaching that we are inferior. Okay, when you have an institution like that and demotes the natural progression of a people,
okay,
then you have problems. Then you have people living like they ought not live, self-destructing. So we have to start addressing that problem.
That issue, the number one issue.
That's right. That's what I feel the number one issue is. Other people might have their own opinions. But I say racism is like people walking in the dark. You hear about people, you know,
So
like a man walking in the dark with a lot of boxes around.
Right.
You walk around, you trip over the box, but you don't know why. Until you cut on the light and can identify where the boxes are, then you will no longer stumble. But we are so much walking in the dark in this issue of racism that we're stumbling as a people and don't know why. We don't even know why it exists. Right.
But yet we're labeled that.
Right. You have to understand the mindset of those who carry out racism. See, people think that our people of African descent, can carry out racism. See, racism is a power structure which is set up by those who promotes a difference in between racial groups, labeling one as superior, one as inferior. And people say black people can participate in racism. I say not, because we don't have the political or economic power to carry that out. We have to understand that racism or white supremacy is caused by a genetic problem. It's a fear of genetic annihilation of one group of people. Because you have to understand the mindset of the white supremacists, okay? You have to understand that, and you also have to understand genetics. Genetics teaches us that you can only get white by reproducing two white people, a black man, and a white woman. Black offspring.
I see.
Black woman, white man, black offspring. White woman, white man, only way you can get a white offspring. And because of our numbers are increasing, their population growth is decreasing. What is the way that you survive genetically in that? Also, with the advent of interracial marriages that are coming.
That's happening a lot.
That's right.
That's right.
So the offspring of these interracial marriages are what? Black baby.
Coming
okay.
Together.
So how do you eradicate the problem of white genetic annihilation? You eliminate the people who are causing you genetic annihilation by instituting programs which will not let those people advance, which will institute a false history, teaching people a false history to make those people think that they have played no part, so that they will not advance. So until we understand this as a people, then there will be no advancement of our people. And they say we use it as an excuse. That is not an excuse. That's just identifying the problem and addressing that problem.
That issue at that.
That's right.
Well, you know, we're running out of time, so I want to get to this next issue right quickly. The health issue among our black brothers and sisters. Could you discuss a little bit about the health issues?
Health issues among people of African descent is in a state of decline. We outdie people in every way that you can possibly outdie a person. AIDS, cancer, hypertension, heart disease, everyone. Why? We have a horrible eating habit. We think we can stuff anything into our body and it not affect us. Okay? We shove down pork, which is in the Bible. Of all the you practicing Christians out there, it is in the Bible. Ribs, bacon, pork of any type. We are not to touch it. We are not to go near it. But we worship our stomachs more than we worship God sometimes. And when you are controlled by your stomach, food fills your stomach, and we have people who do not have our best interests at hand controlling our foods, then who ultimately controls us? Other people. We are not in control of ourselves. If they control our foods, then we are basically walking in their footsteps for food to fill our stomachs. Until we start controlling our eating habits, we still will not progress as a people, because we try to break away mind, spirit, and body, which what you eat directly affects you physically, it affects you mentally, and it affects you spiritually. And until we come to that knowledge, then no advancements for us as a people, because we cannot shove anything into our bodies and expect everything to be copacetic after we do this.
And there you have it. I'd like to thank you for coming on Express Yourself.
Thank you.
Remember this, to my Express Yourself viewers, write to P.O. Box 2337, Landover, Maryland, 20784.
Now it's time for us to put down that slave mentality and take on the promised land mentality. Yes, we can still live here, but not be of here. Amen. We can build a nation within a nation. We don't have to participate in the destruction of our own people. That is unnatural behavior. Amen. I tell all my students, if they have a question on how they have to conduct themselves, you need to look at nature. Nature has mastered living in harmony with one another. Great. Nature does not deviate one inkling from God's word. That's why nature lasts so long. That's why trees live so long. That's why the stars have been in the sky, the sun has been in the sky so long, because it does not deviate from the will of God. Therefore, you don't see dogs killing other dogs. You don't see birds participating in the destruction of their own kind. So why is it that we, being created in the perfect image of God, more intelligent than any other creature in the world, why is it that we are killing ourselves? People, we got some changing to do. Amen. There's some of us who say, well, I can't change. I'm too old to change. I can't change. We've been doing this too long. I can't change. It feels too good. It tastes too good. I can't change. Well, let me tell you, my brothers and sisters, unless they are lowering you in a hole 6 feet deep, and somebody's saying ashes to ashes, dust to dust, then you can change. How can we say that we believe in an all-powerful God and don't believe that he can make us change? This is the same God that raised Lazarus from the dead. Lazarus had been dead so long that he began to stink. But God said, I want to change you. Lazarus, come forth. And Lazarus walked again. There's some of us who have been mentally dead so long that our attitudes have begun to stink. They stink.
The only fortune in life are the ones you create. In the meantime, peace. Most talk shows line like next man. Take a pause for the cold. You fools, you lose. Vernon Richardson is following the positive view. No time for the yes sir, no sir. Express yourself, becoming right at ya. You can't poke at the black man's brain. Don't choke from my hang rope, yo. He's my quote. The black race needs a little uplift, and Vernon Richardson is sure got the gift, and he's trying to bring you a show that you've never seen. Expressing lessons come on through on cable channel 15. What's the product? What's the cause? A better outlook on life is what we shooting for. You wanna learn to get props through the channels of positive wealth? Get yours. Express yourself. Peace.